Hi everyone, here's the Bookchemist once again, and today I'm talking about my favorite Jonathan Franzen novels. Jonathan Franzen was a writer I was very much into when I was starting to get addicted to fiction during my 18th, 19th year on this beautiful planet. I later kinda grew past my Franzen's phase, just the way I grew up past my Wallace phase, but whereas I'm kinda skeptical about David Foster Wallace nowadays, I still do believe, by the way, it's just my opinion, I know lots of people, better scholars than me, who believe Wallace to be one of the greatest writers of the 20th, 21st century. As for Franzen, I still do believe that he is one of the best and in a way most enjoyable writers of today, even though he talks about lots of unpleasant stuff in his fiction. When I say that he is very pleasant, I believe that he has kind of very good narrative chops. He has the best black humor on the market, basically, and he is the master of characterization, and within his fiction maybe you just have 4 or 5 key characters in his latest novels, but you get to know them perfectly. You get to know all of the horrible shit they think and believe and are. He is also a writer with a weird evolution throughout his career, so today I'm going to talk about his 5 novels. Although this is not going to be a top 5, whatever the title says, it's going to be more of a top 4, because my experience with Strong Motion was a weird one. I probably mentioned it already on my channel. I started reading it, fell completely asleep on a train and woke up on a operation table in Mexico. It wasn't my best Christmas, I have to say. What do you think? Should I reconsider Strong Motion? Is it a good novel? I never hear people talk about it. They all talk either of his debut novel or of his more famous 21st century works. At number 4 I would put This Huge Coffin. I reviewed it recently. It wasn't really my cup of tea. There's lots to love in here. His reflections on... No, well, I don't think there's too much to love in here. The way he characterizes East Germany and the use of action in this novel are great and good, respectively. And some of the villain in this book is very well characterized, but overall I felt it was a bit too stuck up as a novel. Its perspective on popular culture and the internet were a little bit too haughty, and in general it felt to me as if Franzen had taken all of the stuff I kinda don't like about his fiction and put it in a single work. But lots of people thought differently. I believe my experience is that people who don't like purity usually liked freedom and vice versa. And I kinda liked freedom. I put it on the 3rd spot in this chart, in this list. Freedom is a great reflection on a supposedly perfect liberal American family, on the way good people with good ideals can sometimes be obnoxious, on the importance of honesty in human relationships, on the value of the American family in general. It's a it's a dense book, the way Franzen uses different styles, and sometimes you get first-person narration in the form of kind of a diary. Sometimes you get straighter third-person narratives. It's great. That, by the way, was also one of the good things in Purity. The one flaw I find in this novel is that it is pretty much the corrections all over again. It's not really a flaw. I mean, I don't really have a problem with that, but you should probably know about it. The Corrections was a novel about a Midwestern family with conservative parents and liberal kids. This is the same with liberal parents and conservative kids. The Corrections, of course, is going to be number 2. This is one... I mean, even if you don't like Franzen, and for instance, in my own country, in Italy, lots of people hate Franzen because they believe that he just basically ripped off 19th century classic literature, which is bullshit, because all fiction, all contemporary fiction rips off 19th century realist fiction. That's like the way literature works. But anyway, even if you don't like Franzen, I believe The Corrections is the novel you should read. It is one of the key texts of the 21st century. Franzen's black humor game is top-notch in here. This characterization is amazing, and you get that moment at the end of this book, which you also get in Freedom, you also get in Purity, and it's beautiful and redeeming, in which all of Franzen's reflection on how everyone is shit eventually culminates in a moment of redemption, and it shows you the beauty, the inner beauty that even the shittiest people possess and have within them. One of the great things about The Corrections, in my opinion, is that it came out, I believe, a few days, if not the week before 9/11, which was to be the defining event of the early 21st century, and even like coming out without having that event in mind. Franzen, of course, didn't know about 9/11 when he wrote this book. This book talks beautifully and perfectly about American society and Western society in many ways in the first decade of the 21st century. And of course, the brilliant thing about this book is the way Franzen balances human and personal reflections on the value of family and familiar relationships with broader discussions on society, on the role of the family and of familiar ideals in a larger society. Maybe the parts about academic life in this novel are not particularly spot on. I don't think Franzen has any idea what being an academician actually is like, but that's fun too. Those parts are fun to read, although sometimes disgusting. The one novel I'm going to put first is The 27th City, and many people I'm sure are going to find this weird, but this is just the kind of book I love to read. This is very much a Pynchonian novel, peopled with so many different characters, and it's an awesome thriller. It has that element of popular fiction, of I mean that in the best of ways, of the good thriller. There are explosions in here, there are evil people, kidnappings, and at the same time it also has that kind of discussion on the family and the role of family you find in his other books. It's also the one book in all of Franzen's bibliography thing in which some of the characters aren't pieces of shit. Some of the characters are actually good people, and of course the main characters hate them, but that's fine. I mean, that's supposed to be so. You know, my experience in life taught me that some people aren't shitty. I don't know about you. It's definitely an early effort, and some of the narrative strands in here are resolved better than others. And of course, the great thing about Franzen, as I said, is that he's so good at characterizing the people who inhabit his novels, and here his characterization is not top-notch, because of course there are so many people in here, but the characterization of the city of St. Louis in here makes up for all that. Again, I really love this book, and I do believe it's one of Franzen's most enjoyable books, if not his most enjoyable. If you're not too sure you're hot on familiar sagas full of masturbation and problematic relationships, The 27th City is a good first Franzen novel for you. That's my top 5. Let me know about your experience with all of these books, which of Franzen's novels you'd put first, and of course, as always, let me know about whatever passes through your mind in the comments below. Thank you once again for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.